You didn't plan it, did you? That move wasn't in the book. It was born in the fire, not the blueprint.
Ooh, so that's how it happened, huh? The room froze, eyes widened, and for the first time in a long, long while, the audience didn't know what to say. You didn't follow the script. You rewrote it live, right there, under their blinking, blind lights. They thought they had you cornered, boxed in by rules, measured by metrics, caged by consensus. But then you did that move, that impossible thing, that little flick of defiance that shattered the glass. Everyone else was too afraid to untap. And oh, how they stared. Their faces said it all. Wait, was that even allowed? See, the world loves pretending it knows the limits. But every now and then, someone walks in with fire in their veins and proves there never were any. You didn't just play the game, you exposed it. Every rule, every fake expert, every whisper of you can't. You cooked it live, and now the kitchen's on fire. So let's rewind the moment, shall we? Let's dissect the exact second the unthinkable became real. Because once you understand what you did, you'll never bow again. Ready, maestro? Let's talk about the move that broke the world's illusion. The rhythm, that dull, perfect little heartbeat. The world hums. Tick, tock, swipe, scroll, smile, repeat. They call it order. I call it a lullaby for the blind. Every street corner rehearsed, every headline choreographed, every human just another echo, pretending to be original. You knew the pattern, didn't you? Wake, work, pretend, perform, say what's safe, feel what's approved, and if you ever twitch out of time, oh, they notice. You used to nod along, used to laugh at the right cues, used to play the part they wrote for you. But somewhere between their applause and your silence, you felt it, that itch beneath the mask, that tiny rebellion crawling up your spine. The city was too still, too rehearsed, too clean in its chaos, and something inside you hated it. You watched them chase balance while losing their bones. You watched them call conformity peace. And you wondered, what happens when someone moves against the metronome? You stopped dancing. You stood still while everyone else spun in circles. And for a moment, nobody noticed. Not the sheep, not the shepherds, not even the ones paid to keep the lights on. But the floor noticed. The rhythm noticed. The system heard that silence, and it cracked. Now the applause has stopped. The audience is staring. And you're the one standing where the song died. They thought you missed a step. But really, you just rewrote the beat. Oh, that moment, that beautiful, unscripted twitch in time. You didn't plan it. You didn't chart it, weigh it, or rehearse it. It just happened. A pulse in your chest that didn't ask permission. A thought that cut through the static before logic could smother it. See, most people wait for a sign, a miracle, a crowd's approval. You moved before the air even shifted, before fear had time to name itself. It wasn't strategy, it was instinct, that raw, electric hum the rest of them forgot how to feel, like a magician slipping a knife between seconds. You carved your will into the space where time usually breathes. And for one fleeting, impossible instant, reality hesitated. The lights flickered. The room forgot its script, and every rule they swore by blinked. They'll say it was luck. They'll call it a glitch, because they can't stand the truth. That their system, their structure, their so-called perfection was already fragile. You didn't break it, you just tapped it, and the whole illusion cracked like cheap glass. The sound, oh that sound, the gasp before the collapse, the hush before the panic, the echo of control realizing it was never real. And in that silence, every eye turned, every watcher, every believer, every puppet with its strings still trembling. They saw you, not as one of them, but as the reason the music stopped. You weren't supposed to stand out. You weren't supposed to exist outside the script. But there you were, uninvited, unfiltered, unstoppable, and the city, it just learned your name. And then, silence. The kind of silence that doesn't breathe, the kind that listens. Every eye froze where you stood, mouths half open, hands suspended mid-motion, unsure whether to clap or crawl away. You felt it, didn't you? That pulse of confusion, envy, and awe, all tangled together in the same breath. Some smiled, tight, trembling, forced, fake approval stitched over raw fear. They wanted to believe it was nothing, a trick of timing, a glitch of light, but the clever ones, they knew. They saw the edges bending, the rules thinning. They didn't see luck, they saw leverage. Whispers began to crawl through the crowd like static. How did they do it? Was that supposed to happen? Did you see their face? And beneath every question hid a quiet confession. You did something they never could. The Joker's voice drips through the smoke, soft and slow. The clever ones took notes. The cowards called it luck. Because that's what they do, isn't it? They build their safety nets out of denial. They pretend not to see the hole in their own logic. Even as you step right through it, you can almost taste it now. The bitterness behind their applause, the jealousy hiding in their smiles. They'll study your every move. They'll mimic your gestures, quote your words, borrow your madness, but they'll never catch it. That spark that moved before thought. Visuals shimmer in the mind like a broken dream, a shattered chessboard, pieces scattered, hierarchy undone, smoke curling around cracked mirrors, each reflection fractured, confused which side it's on. That's when the Joker leans in, his voice slicing the quiet. You didn't win the game. You rewrote it. And the crowd? They finally understood. You weren't playing to prove them wrong. You were playing to change the rules themselves. You made their reality blink. You made certainty optional. And now every one of them is trapped in that same question. If you could do it, what's stopping them? And just like that, admiration turns into accusation. The crowd that once gasped in awe starts whispering in fear. They call meetings. Now, draft policies. Whisper your name like it's a crime. Scene. Because brilliance always has a cost, especially when it refuses to kneel. The moment after genius is never applause. It's silence that feels like judgment. 1,000 stares, waiting to see if you'll break character. Joker's voice slides in, low and amused. They love creators until creation burns their comfort. And oh, how it burns. The illusion of control, melting in real time. Their neat little boxes, safe, sterile, obedient, all crumbling because you dared to move different. Now, they'll do what systems always do. They'll call you unstable, unpredictable, too emotional, too dangerous, anything, to make your spark sound like a defect instead of a discovery. They'll tell you to fall back in line, to make it look easy again, to smile smaller, to think slower, to stop making their gods. Nervous, but you don't flinch. You've seen behind the curtain. You know how thin their control really is, how fragile their confidence becomes. When faced with something real, they'll flood you with noise, critics, rules, opinions, desperate attempts to cage what they can't understand. And you just watch, calm, amused, like someone listening to a dying symphony, one note away from silence. Because here's the secret, they don't fear failure, they worship it, as long as it follows their script. What they fear is freedom, the kind that doesn't ask permission, the kind that doesn't fit inside their metrics or markets, the kind that moves like lightning, unpredictable, untamed, unstoppable. Joker leans closer, his grin wide, eyes glinting with that knowing madness. The system doesn't fear failure. He whispers. It fears the one who stopped playing by its rules. And in that moment, the city itself seems to exhale, like even the walls have realized. The glitch has become the guide, and that's when it hits you, not like a punch, but like clarity slicing through fog. Every rule, every ritual, every polite little boundary they called order was just fear wearing a badge. You start seeing the seams, the stage lights flicker, the actors forget their lines, and suddenly, the whole production looks cheap. Joker's voice curls around the edges of your thoughts, smooth and venomous. They told you the system was sacred, but look closer, it's duct tape and panic holding it together. You realize impossible was never real, was just a word they used to keep you from trying to keep you soft. Predictable, profitable. The streets you used to walk with your head down now look like a chessboard, and for the first time, you're not one of the pawns. You're the player holding the clock, and the clock's broken. The crowd doesn't notice yet. They're still clapping on cue, still reciting the same safe opinions, still worshiping the same invisible rules. But you've stopped performing. You've started watching. And what you see is hilarious. Every leader trembling behind confidence, every expert bluffing through noise, every truth changing shape, depending on who's in the room. Joker laughs, low, unholy. You saw through it, he says. And you didn't flinch, you smiled. That smile, the one they call dangerous now, wasn't rebellion. It was revelation, a signal to the few who were awake enough to notice. Because when one person stops believing the lie, the whole illusion starts to shake. And that's what happened. The floorboards creaked, the lights cracked, and someone whispered your name, like it was a prophecy coming true. That smile, that single, quiet, unstoppable smile, wasn't defiance. It was ignition, the spark that said, let the riot begin. It starts quiet, always does. One day, you see someone move like you did. Same rhythm, same defiance, same flicker in their eye that says, I saw it too. And then another, and another, until the city that once pointed fingers starts pointing cameras. Your act, the one that broke their pattern, becomes the new choreography. They copy your glitch and call it evolution. Joker watches, amused. They call it a trend. He sneers. But trends are just graveyards for originality. And you're the ghost that built it. He leans closer. They're not following you because they understand. They're following because they can't afford not to. They dress their fear in your courage. They imitate your rebellion like it's fashion season for freedom. And all the while, they forget what started it. The first spark, the moment that wasn't meant to happen. The rule you broke so cleanly, it looked like art. Now the architects of the old world are sketching from your silhouette. The analysts are writing manuals based on your mistakes. And the cowards, they're preaching your chaos like it was doctrine. The Joker smirks, voice dripping with irony. See what happens when you move differently? The system adapts to you. You didn't join the network. You became the source code. And still, you stay silent. Watching them try to decode your motion, your tone, your pause between breaths. They think if they can name it, they can own it. But you know better. You know the truth. That imitation isn't understanding. That repetition isn't rebirth. Because while they're busy rehearsing your chaos, you've already moved on. You've already changed the rhythm again. They'll chase you through reflections, through trends, through theories and think pieces. But they'll never catch the moment you stopped being human and became myth. And that's the beauty of it. You didn't create followers. You created mirrors, and mirrors don't think, they just show the truth over and over until the world realizes it's wearing your face. The city breathes different. Now, you can hear it in the hum of new machines, in the footsteps that echo off broken marble and fresh steel. Every wall they built to contain you now bends around your shape. Every rule that once stood solid melts like wax under your fire. Joker's voice lingers in the smoke, half whisper, half sermon. Every law, every structure, every cant, rewritten with your fingerprint. He laughs, low, guttural, knowing. They thought the future was something that arrives, but no, no, no. You proved it's something that reacts. The city no longer follows blueprints, it follows echoes, your echoes. The tremors of your first mistake that turned out to be genius. The rhythm of your defiance that taught a million others how to breathe again. They called it chaos at first. Now they call it design. The shift you sparked became a compass, and those still clinging to order can't tell if they're rebuilding or worshipping what broke them. Joker steps through the haze, his grin lit by flame and reflection. You changed physics without touching a single lever. You changed belief without saying a word. You made madness measurable. He pauses. Do you know what that means? The question hangs heavy, the sound of distant sirens fading into silence. It means the world doesn't move forward anymore. It moves around you. Every decision, every algorithm, every rule rewritten. In your rhythm, they think they adapted, but really, they surrendered. The skyline glows red and silver. Neon flickers on the ruins like stained glass in a new cathedral. And the Joker's voice fades into the static, half reverent, half mad. They thought you made a move. His grin widens, breaking the night in half. But you made a world.